Good afternoon to you, snooker fans. Welcome to the latest episode of the 15 Rate podcast with me, Scott MacArthur, here in County Tyrone in Northern Ireland, and I'm joined by Kelly Barker in London. Good afternoon to you, Kelly.
Good afternoon, Scott. Good to be back again talking about snooker and a good week at the German Masters last week and another win for Kyren.
Very much so. A tremendous week at the Temple Drum. Well, it always is a tremendous venue. One I was actually saying to my father through the week that it's one I would love to go to, sort of dropping a subtle hint there. But no, a tremendous week and well done, Kyren. Uh, it one doesn't want to be too premature, but it does seem at the minute that the season, in terms of ranking events, is becoming a bit of a two-horse race. If it's not Trump, it's Kyren. If it's not Kyren, then it's Trump. So well done to Kyren. I mean, he didn't play his best the whole way through. I mean, we'll get to the individual results in a minute, but in the final against Hawkins, he played absolutely superbly well. So well deserved, I thought.
Definitely, yeah. I think he saved his best form for the week for the final. Barry played really well as well. I somehow kind of felt that Kyren might have enough to have won slightly 10-8, 10-7, but credit to Barry for sticking in it. And the evening session, he didn't let Kyren get away from him at all, really. They both played tremendously well. Got to feel for Barry, so close again to a title. I think if he keeps plugging away how he is, I think something good could be around the corner for him. And he's such a good player and a nice guy. But the world champion is on top again, and I think some of that world champion confidence that he's got, and just believing in his own game and his own method. I think that shines through, and it's third ranking event of the season now, so there's not many first time champions who've ever done much better than him. So we're absolutely all credit to him.
Very much so. I mean, I love a stat. And Dave Henton, I think, mentioned it on his podcast this morning that there are only 11 players that have won three ranking events in a season, and he's one of them. And we were sort of speculating ourselves, and I think this is true, that there are only two first-time world champions who've actually done better. Judd Trump in 1920 and Hendry in 1991. So with 6 and 5 between those two seasons. So he's in pretty elite company there. Nine ranking titles overall, same as Ebden and John Parrott. So he's in pretty elite company. He's climbing those lists very steadily, Kyron, and he deserves it because he is, as Al McManus would say, he is a pure snooker person, Kyron. He's dedicated to the sport, he loves it, and well, he just lives and breathes it, really. Kyron's one of these players, I think he would play on the moon if he could.
Absolutely. I put him in sort of the Stuart Bingham, Sean Murphy mould where, if there was some pro-am on up the road when there was no normal tournament in, then he might just play in it because he's just a snooker man through and through. He appreciates what the sport's given him, and is he capitalising on the talent he's got and hard work. I didn't even winning the world championship. I didn't see Kyren having this good a season next time out, and I felt strongly that Judd could have broken the Crucible curse, and who knows if that COVID championship hadn't have been slightly delayed. And it was actually Kyren who stopped Judd in that championship as defending champion. So uh, I've got this strong feeling somehow that Kyren is going to go very, very close at Sheffield. And that curse, is it's there for to be broken one day. We've been waiting so long.
Indeed, yeah.
Maybe this year.
Well, you mentioned the COVID championship, COVID World Championship, and that leads us very nicely to was it the quarter final between Kyren and Anthony McGill. Because, of course, we all remember what happened in that semi final. And unfortunately, from Anthony's point of view, it seems to have gone precisely the same way, losing in the deciding frame. But
Yes, Anthony played really well, led 4-3, and I think this is one that got away really. Should have won 5-3, but slightly messed up on the colours in frame 8, and Kyren took his chances. But it is good to see Anthony playing well again, though, and with good wins over Luca and Zhanganda in previous rounds, and he played really well. But somehow you knew when Kyren, when push came to shove, you knew that Kyren would stand up to any pressure in the decider, and he did. And that's where he's ahead of the game on most players at the moment.
yeah,
He's not going to shy away or be too pressured. And I think, he is the world champion, and that's what world champions do. Put him in any deciding frame setup at the moment against anybody in the world, and I'd probably favour Kyren at the moment.
I know. I mean, to be honest, I know I keep going on about it, but, when I was talking to you off air, to be honest, when I was watching that quarter final, I couldn't get away from 2020, unfortunately. It just, I don't know whether Anthony thinks about it every time he plays Kyron, but it has a fact that he's not, well, he didn't beat him that day and he's not beaten him since. So there must be some sort of psychological overhang there, you would think.
Possibly, and I mean that was such a tough loss to get over. I mean, even if he's over it, I'm sure he's over it by now. But when he plays Kyren again, it's bounced across both of their minds because it was such an epic. They'll both remember it now with differing reasons. Anthony will think what might have been, and Kyren, he reached the final, and I think the experience of reaching that final in 2020 definitely helped him when he came to play again this year. He got the experience of losing a final under his belt then as well, so he didn't want to do that again. And he said afterwards as well, when he played Jack Jones in the final, he remembered how tired he was going into that 2020 final, and he saw Jack backstage and saw that he looked tired and knew he had to capitalise on it in that first session of the final. So yeah, who knows that would Anthony McGill have beaten Ronnie in that final if he'd have made it? We'll never know. But I still do think that there's good things ahead for Anthony. It was a very encouraging week, and although it was Kyren's week in the end, I think although that was one that got away from McGill, I think he should go away with the positives and hopefully take those into the next events. I mean, we've got Wales next week. Hopefully he can do some good there because I don't think he's out of the hunt for a place in the Hong Kong Grand Prix. So lots to play for next week, and it's going to be a big event at the Welsh.
Well, indeed, yes. Then Hawkins, was it Wu Yetter in the quarter final, am I right?
Yes, this was a high quality game. Barry started with a 138. Wu had a 120 also, and it was a very enjoyable game to watch. Another encouraging performance from Wu Yize, he's looking better as every event goes on. I feel he's gaining more experience. two finals this season, and I definitely think he's one to watch for the future. Well, he's one to watch now, but I really hope he qualifies for the Crucible because he could produce some fireworks against a top 16er, and you know who knows how far he could go because I think potential is endless, really.
Yeah. Any other highlights from the last eight before we move on?
Well, the first was it the evening one. Wan Jun beat Neil Robertson 5-4, which I enjoyed watching that one. Neil never quite looked at his best, but Sejun played really well, making 100 exactly and four other 50 pluses. Robbo did get back to 4-all, but I always thought Wan Jun was the better player on the night and deserved the win. I think Robbo will be slightly disappointed his proper A game just still doesn't quite seem there. But again, a reasonable week for him. Some valuable ranking points as he's looking to cement a 16 place for Sheffield as well. So yeah, lots to play for. I mean, the thing for Robertson is he hasn't got the World Open to go to because he didn't
Yes,
show up
well,
for
we
that
all know what
qualifier.
happened there. Yes.
Yes, he got his dates mixed up, sadly. So he's not in the World Open. So he really needs to do well in the other events to make sure of a Crucible seeding. But things are looking quite positive for him there. And the final quarter final, Zhao Gudong, this one turned into a bit of a non-event, really. Zhao Gudong beat Aaron Hill 5-0 to bring Hill back down to earth, really. It was a good week for Hill, though, after
Yeah.
wins over Mark Williams, Jimmy Robertson, and Tom Ford. But Zhao Gudong's become such a strong, steady player this season. You really have to play well to beat him. So, yeah, that was the semi-final. That took us up to the semi-finals.
Yes, Aaron up to a career high of 55 now in the rankings. And, although he's not from Northern Ireland, the fact he's from the Republic, a sort of local interest for me. But, a good steady young player. He's beaten O'Sullivan before, and now he's beaten Mark Williams. So, we can take the positives, Aaron, but yes, the 5-0 drubbing, a bit of a back down to earth with a bump, as you say. But well done to Zhou Guodong, Wuhan Open champion earlier in the season, of course. So he's on a bit of a high with confidence, or at least he was going into the semi final. But, positives there too. But, of course, in the semi final, he's up against Kyren Wilson.
Yes, and sadly for Zhao Gudong, he never got going in the semi-final, really. And Kyren struggled towards the end. He was too far ahead, really, to have lost that match. Kyren got a good lead, and like you say, he did struggle. Um, um, yeah, I just Zhao would have gone away disappointed from that with that one because he could have. I think he could have given Kyren a tougher game because Kyren really wasn't playing his best. So that was a
Yeah.
shame, really. And then so Kyren marched on to the German final where they've got a really good record in Germany, actually. But the evening match was Barry Hawkins against Wan Sejun. Sejun started like a train, potting everything to lead 2-0. But Barry was playing as well and as consistent as I've seen him for a good while. Won 6 in a row and barely looks like missing. And on the semi-final form of Hawkins and Kyren Wilson, I actually thought Barry would be a favourite to win the final.
Well,
But
yes, he, yes, Kyren, just going back, Kyren from him, he did play extremely well. he did play extremely well, and and Hawkins played extremely well also. But because 2-6-2's quite comprehensive. And I think overall, you would say the two best players got into the final on the week's form. I know Kyren wasn't always at his best, but the best two did end up at the showpiece match. And I mean, the atmosphere in the Temple Run for the final was tremendous. So, so the German fans got good value for money, I suppose. First ranking final since 2023, I think it went to the side of the World Grand Prix,
Oh,
Mark Allen and Judd Trump.
that might be so, yes. I know we haven't had one for a good while, have we? I wasn't sure it went back that long. Um, but yeah, and I think that the German fans deserved a deciding frame final as well. They always turn out so well to support the tournament. So to get and there have been a few one-sided drubbings in the German Masters finals over the years. So I'm pleased for those fans that they got a deciding frame. Both of them played really well. Really good final. I enjoyed it all day. Um, felt felt sorry for Barry, but again, when it came to the decider and when the chips were really down and you needed to pull something out of the hat, Kyren had it. Um, and you can't deny what a season he's having. Just tremendous from him.
I know. And of course, Kyron's words after the final were extremely gracious. I know there was a terrible fuss over nothing at the Masters. I'm going to say that now. There was a terrible fuss over what Kyron said or didn't say in the Masters. That was nonsense, really. But his words there were extremely gracious and extremely good. And well, he deserves it. Just to give the answer to my trivia question from last week, who was the player that O'Sullivan beat 5-4 from 4-0 down before going on to beat Stephen Maguire in the final in 2012? Andrew Higginson, the 2007 Welsh Open runner-up. A match that sort of changed O'Sullivan's career in many ways, uh, but of course, we've not been talking about O'Sullivan an awful lot in a contemporary sense because he wasn't here in Germany this week either. So, but I gather, Kelly, that you're off to Wales next week. You're off to Llandudno for a few days for the Welsh Open, so you'll enjoy that, no doubt. What are you looking forward to?
Well, yes, I'm there for the early part of the tournament, which yeah, it always is a good one. And Llandudno is a lovely part of the world to go and spend a few days. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to day one actually because you get all the top 16 seeds. Their games are held over to the venue, so you get a full day's play of all the players. All the top 16 will be in action. So yeah, it'll be good to watch. I think Mark Selby starts at 10 a.m. next Monday morning, so be up bright and early for that one.
Yep. The Welsh Open, of course, a tremendous tournament with tremendous history. And my trivia question, which we're going to hold over because Kelly's in Wales, will not be back until probably this day fortnight. But I'm going to hold over my Welsh Open trivia question. And the question is this: who was the runner-up in the Welsh Open when it was first held? Who was the runner-up in the first Welsh Open? Now, I know Welsh fans will tell me that there'd been the old Welsh Professional Championship, but who was the runner-up when the first ranking event version was held in 1992? Who did Stephen Hendry beat in that inaugural final? So that's something for our keen historians of the game to chew over for the next 2 weeks. And all been well, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with a full review of both the incoming winners group of the Championship League, which you can enjoy across the Matchroom YouTube channels today or tomorrow and Wednesday, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with a full roundup of the Welsh Open results once Kelly has returned from her sojourn there to the Welsh coast.
Yes, I feel I must apologise, Scott. I keep going off gallivanting, so we have to keep having our, missing a week of the podcast. So sorry about that, but
Not
I'm
at
sure
all,
I'll
not at all.
I'm sure I'll come back with some good stories to tell of Wales as always.
Indeed, yeah. Indeed. Always a tremendous week in Wales. You'll get it on Eurosport because that doesn't take effect until the 28th. I think, Kelly, you were telling me there is a half price deal on the app, certainly in the initial stages for the first 6 months. So people who it's not as quite a steep a
Yeah,
rise, but
yes.
so
I went.
hopefully some will be able to avail of that.
Yes, last week, because I subscribed directly through the app, and I went to cancel it last week because I thought, well, if we're not going to get sport on there, then it's no use to me. So I went to cancel it, and I was offered the new TNT service for half price for 7 months. So that's something to think about if you do subscribe directly through the app. It's still more than we were paying, obviously, but there is that half price offer on at the moment.
Yes. Well, yes, that will conclude our podcast for today. And all been well, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time then, when
Yes,
everything from the Welsh has settled down. So, goodbye, everyone.
bye, Scott.
Goodbye.